and buyers that are ready to buy first to see where they're at.
Right.
Tell them about the lending process pre-approval. Don't go shopping for a house first to see how much you can afford.
Right.
See
All
what
right.
credit score is.
Will you go up there and see if I can see you?
Yeah. Okay.
So first time home, I like special.
I don't know why it did what it did.
Our first time home.
This is, you guys, I am so afraid that something is gonna happen while we're doing this.
Or specialist, however you want to do.
All right, excellent. So you were in it, I think. Let me look on the other screen. Hold on, let's see if it's, yes. All right, so I don't know why it did what it did, but I'm telling you that if it does that, you know, during the presentation, hopefully people will not freak out, and in a minute or two I can get it back up. But I have no idea. So you guys, right now, let's make sure that this might be in the way.
This?
So you're gonna write something up
This?
there.
I was just gonna put our names up there.
All right, that's great. Maybe what I need to do, I certainly do not think if this is pointed towards them, that's gonna be a big deal, do you?
No.
I think that is better. I tried to say that to Jody, but for some reason he did not think that this was the best idea. To me, I'm like,
Oh, between the two.
I think that
Perfect.
rocks. And then you guys can stand up, but it should get you.
You might need to signal them to speak towards it because it's sound directed, it seems.
So,
That's what the text
you wanna test me?
I could put it up a little bit more. Oops, I just came out. I was in. Let me go back and see. Well, it says it's capturing the information. So if you guys say something, I don't know why I don't have anything coming out of my box here.
So you ready for me? You want me to say something?
Why is that?
It's a good thing, you're here early getting all the kinks worked out.
That's right.
That's it. Let me put our last names. There you go. There you go.
All right, so if you guys talk again.
Hi.
Can't hear me
Nothing.
back here. Well, it's just back here.
But can they hear anything?
I hope that other people can hear. Let's see. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask people. We are here and watching. Awesome. Awesome.
Can they hear us?
Michelle, can you hear us? Okay, so why don't you say a few things? Keep talking for
Can you hear me?
Keep going.
I am excited about this class today. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
So you want me to test it away from the mic, huh?
We can hear you.
And can they still hear me away from the mic?
Here. Away. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to talk now.
Okay, so I am just testing to see if you all can hear me, because if you can't hear me, I'm not doing you a service tonight. Hi everybody, and welcome to the program. Want me to keep going?
Yep.
All right, so we had some delicious subs and potato chips, and we're just waiting on our class to arrive.
Need you close to the mic.
Yep.
So they
okay,
can.
there we
Okay,
go.
so we may
All
have
right.
to sit down.
So can I still stand and
it just depends on how.
like closer like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe like this.
Let me
I can
just put
sit
it up a
down
little
if
bit.
you want.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's up to you.
We sit down all day. That's kind of how we,
Yeah.
I don't
No.
really care.
Yeah.
Like
There you go. I can put it like this, and it will definitely catch you.
Okay.
And you'll be right there within this kind of like little box.
Okay.
From I think there to
You
probably
have
here.
a podium?
No, we don't have a podium. Well, that's a podium. You can put that. Maybe we can move that podium.
Oh, that's attached to that.
Oh yeah, no, it's attached to
It's too
yeah.
low.
Okay.
That's
So
all right.
No is the answer.
All right, so maybe now see
Now-
if they still can hear me good.
Yeah, now I can always put it back to the side if you want me to. I just thought it would be too far away from you.
This is better. This is actually better because
Yeah.
yeah, we can
Okay.
stay in our own.
So, I
Wanna move my
think
name
it's
over?
higher and it's right where your mouths are.
Let me move this. All right, so
Right.
you want to see if you can? They can still hear me now.
Okay, yeah, all right. So why don't you talk now?
All right, so it's me again. Get used to seeing my face. We'll be spending some time together until 7:30 tonight. I hope you feel welcome by now and have your refreshments.
Well, she's gonna hear you standing and talking into it, but if you're not. next
Okay,
to
so
it,
like
you're just
this.
standing right there.
Okay, now can you hear me? So we're still testing. 1, 2, 3. Let's see here.
And more than likely, I will be sitting down. So can you hear me from here?
Okay, hold on.
So are you gonna stand during your presentation or we
Uh-oh,
I
hold
might
on.
do a
Norma,
little
can you,
both.
hey, it's, can you not get out? Are you on?
And then you're gonna have to come around and introduce yourself and everything too,
I
aren't you?
didn't introduce you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna move
accepted.
this.
You can see us, right? We have two people talking that says, I'm on it, and I can see
We're
them.
excited. This
You
is
can't.
great.
This is wonderful.
Yeah. And this is our passion too, really.
Yes,
educating
yeah.
about
Norma?
Financial literacy.
That's why before
Norma?
I had retired from teaching and gotten my license. And this is basically
Hey, Norma,
what I
Can
feel like,
you-
even though in real estate, the reason that we had gone into
Can you
the
see- you
credit
see Stephanie?
restoration is because we had like 10 clients. Great.
what do you mean me and Mary?
Salaries.
No, okay, what you need to do is you need to go to live
People
streaming.
just have no clue about
Thank you.
credit.
Okay, you're probably.
So we're
that's
gonna do a
video
real
manager
deep
or
dive
you're
next
somewhere else.
Tuesday.
That
Because
is
that's
great.
her
You need to be-
specialty. You know,
Yeah.
people wanna, you know, like I said, make great income, but your credit is jacked.
Oh my
Your
gosh.
debt to income ratio is just out of whack.
And then
Okay.
someone, like one guy said to me, he said, well, you know, Lily, I can still go on the car and get a lot. I said, yeah, pay 30% interest.
Exactly. What
And he said,
sense does that make?
30%. I said, yeah. I said, with a 450, what do
Right.
you think they're gonna do? They give you a car,
Exactly.
but
Yeah,
you're gonna
but
pay
you're
30%.
out the yin yang, yeah.
And we had, I had with my son, I had lunch with this executive with Mass Mutual. And this I didn't know. I knew about the auto. They will give you life insurance that's rated with a low score. And the other thing they'll do is turn you down. I said, well, why would you turn it
I don't know, where are the people in our thing
Here.
here?
Because what they've found is that because they have a poor record of paying bills,
Oh, poor.
well, no, they have good health. The first thing they'll drop
Is a life insurance.
is the life insurance. That's considered an extra bill, non-essential. And he said it takes about 7 or 8 years for them to really recoup from preparing the life insurance
Mhm.
policy.
Wow.
And so they will make a person pay up front to a rated policy or not insure them at all. And I said, well, do people know that they're not getting the life
Hey, Mary,
insurance
are you good?
program? He said,
Right.
no, they don't.
No. What,
It's just the
tell me
number,
what's
just the
going
number.
on.
That's terrible.
See, because then they don't want to get into a whole thing. They just deny it. And so
Yeah.
people just, they don't know it. They
They
just.
don't, they don't. That's what the worst is.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna have Jody call you, okay?
And that's why I got into real estate.
All right.
I used to be a
Okay,
loan
bye.
officer, so I wanted to know both sides.
Yeah, but see,
You
that's
know?
all, it all makes sense.
Mhm.
It all makes
Mhm.
sense, you know?
Mhm.
My son is a broker too.
I don't know why my phone is not working.
He's a-
Sorry.
He's a certified financial planner.
And I'm
So he
actually
does-
getting, I'll be a
Nothing ever works
licensed
when you need
banker,
to.
so I'll be going
I
through
know,
my
it's so
annuities and all
bizarre,
that,
it's
going through the
not
classes.
accepting
Yeah.
Yeah,
my-
yeah,
Yeah,
What's going
my son is
on?
licensed. He
Yeah.
was on Wall Street.
really. So I'm not going,
Before
I'm
they
not
were,
doing,
you know,
I'm not
he's
going
like,
too far into it like that though.
No,
Got
he
it
did- he
to
has Series
work.
6,
I'm
10, and
so
Yeah, I'm not getting all
excited.
that. I just want to be
Well,
able to
his-
talk
so
to, you know,
there's
just
two of us
talk
working.
intelligently to let the customers know, and then they can progress from there.
From
You know,
there,
just give them
yeah.
some basic information,
Yeah.
not too deep.
Yeah, he's no nerd.
Yeah, so I don't want to do Series 6 and
No,
7
he's
and
a
all,
nerd. He's a-
no.
He does all that stuff, and he's done all that. So
Yeah.
he's all that license, so. Oh,
Good.
It's just-
This is our heartbeat. It really is. This is our heartbeat. And my Living Victory Every Day, I talk about the 7 pillars of the economy, which is finances, education, business, politics, health, spirituality, and then religion. I mean, entertainment and religion.
So I think what we
So
need
it's about
to do.
what makes the world go round, basically,
Yes,
the 7
yes.
pillars. Yeah.
I'm going to, I think what we should do, you guys, is we should start.
Okay.
And, because I think Michelle is on, that's one of our 3 sites. Norma sounded like she was there, but she was watching old videos and not with the live streaming. So maybe she connected. I just can't call her in here for some reason, I'm gonna step out.
So can they hear us?
Michelle said she was the one I was connecting with, and she said they could hear you.
Okay.
So let me just see if, Michelle, are you still there? We are going to start. All right, I just did it, and let's see. There. Jody said he's here. All right, so I don't know if she's there, but let's see. Why is the shotgun mic pointed at the board? That will not work.
Oh, it's not the shotgun mic. Why is that not working?
I don't know. I think it needs to be pointed up and down.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I will change that right now, and then you guys can then start. So what I'm going to do is go like that, and then I'm going to.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Raise that here. I don't know how to make it higher though. Maybe I can do it down here. Righty tighty, righty tighty.
That's what I do. Lefty loosey, righty tight.
Righty tighty. All right. And I don't know if I completely can. No, I think that is the way it's going to be. That's as high as I can get it to go, you guys. So.
I mean,
just
we're
see,
fine,
yeah.
because more than
We
likely,
can just-
I'm going to be sitting. She may walk around.
Yeah, I'm not gonna walk around. Since I can't move like around, I'll
yeah.
stay right here.
Oh, you're going to stay right there?
I'll sit down, yeah.
Okay, so let's try that. That's what it's supposed to do, is he says I'm supposed to point it down. So, let's put it here. It's pointed down at you guys. I think it should work. All right, let's start.
Okay, just start.
Yes.
Okay, good evening and welcome. The Literacy County Council is proud to present everything you want to know about managing your money. Workshops are taking place in Central Carolina Community College here in Pittsboro, Holy Trinity UHC in Siler City, Word of Life Christian Center in Siler City, as well as Liberty Chapel Church in Moncure, thanks to technology. Okay, and we have 2 very, very wonderful, 2 outstanding presenters this evening. Stephanie Peterkin, she's a financial center manager with Capital Bank, a realtor and founder and speaker for Live and Victory Every Day. And in addition, there's also this wonderful person over here. This is Lucinda McLean. She's a personal banker with Capital Bank. She's a credit consultant as well as a first-time home buyer specialist and consultant. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. We are so excited to be here, and thank you all for having us. And we just want to get started, go into this, and talk about financial wellness. Just want to actually say again, my name is Stephanie Peterkin. I'm a financial center manager with Capital Bank. I also founded an organization called LIVE, which stands for Live in Victory Every Day. And with that particular organization, we talk about 7 pillars of the economy, that actually being finances, education, business, health, politics, entertainment, and spirituality. And so I'm really, really pro financial wellness. Also, too, I'm a licensed real estate broker. I actually got my license back in 2004, and I used to be a mortgage consultant as well. So there's a lot of background there as far as being able to talk to you all about financial literacy. our main overall objective for all the classes that we're going to be doing is to educate you and bring you knowledge and understanding about financial wellness, providing you tools and materials that will help you give clarity and understanding about financial management. And with the proper application of all of that, we're hoping that it will create a more financially sound and stable life for you. And just to kind of narrow that down as far as what it is that we're actually going to be talking about today, a couple of things we want you to take away is that you have a better understanding of your relationship with your money. And that we want to make sure that you understand and know how to open a bank account, to understand the difference between needs versus wants, and also to have a basic understanding of budgeting, okay? So first of all, I would like for you to actually do this. There's a couple of questions that I want to ask you, and just kind of write that down so you can actually think about this. What is money to you? So what is money to you? What does it actually mean to you? And what are your feelings and attitude about your money? So we know that money is a current medium of exchange in the form of dollars or coins and banknotes. It's just a financial exchange from one thing for another. And what are your feelings, again, and your attitude about your money? When we value and appreciate a thing, we tend to treat that thing or give that a little more respect. So when we value and think about a thing, we tend to treat it with more respect. So it's how we handle it differently. For example, if we have a family member, or say example, if I have a friend, Lucinda, I'm actually going to treat her with respect because I value our relationship. I'm not going to take her for granted. I'm going to make sure that I'm valuing the time that we actually have because I value who she is as a person and what she actually brings to me, and vice versa, she values what I bring to her. So we need to understand our attitude about our money. Why do we treat money the way that we do? Money is not to be loved, it's not to be worshiped, but it's actually to be respected. We must have a well-balanced thought and attitude about money management. And once we have a well-balanced attitude and thought about money, we can actually maximize the full value of what money is all about. So I want you to think about that again. What is your attitude about your money? And your attitude about your money, where does it actually stem from? Does it come from the way that you were actually brought up as far as your parents and things like that? Maybe they were lavish, and actually spending a lot of money, really didn't have a savings account, or maybe they didn't have money at all, and so it was very hard and difficult for you to actually do the things that you wanted to do whenever you were growing up, so you're actually holding on tight to what it is that you have. But what we want to do is have a well-balanced thought and attitude towards our money. Another thing that I want to talk about is your planning and budgeting. Everybody's budget and plan is going to be different because it's going to be unique to you. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. What is your plan and what is your goal? Now, whenever we have a plan is actually an actionable steps to achieve your goal. So what are those plans? It's an actionable step to achieve your goals. How do you arrive at that particular goal? So what is your goal? A goal is what you're trying to accomplish. For example, you may be wanting to purchase a home, purchase a car, save for a vacation. What is that end result? So think about that. What is your plan? I think it was Benjamin Franklin that actually said, if we plan to fail, then we fail to plan. So remember that. If we plan to fail, then in essence, we are failing to plan. So we need to think about that. What is your plan? What are the actionable steps that you're actually going to put in place to achieve your goal? And what is that goal that you actually want to get? A couple of things I want you to remember, and this is really, really easy. It would help you to remember whenever you want to go and start setting a goal. Think of the word SMART. The word SMART. Be specific whenever you're planning a goal. What is it that you want? Be specific. Be measurable, M for measurable. Make sure that you're able to measure your goal. Make sure that your goal is achievable. What is it that I'm trying to achieve? Make sure that it's a realistic goal. Make sure that you're not trying to start something and you're not going to be able to achieve it, because then it's actually going to, make you really, really feel bad, and because it's just overwhelming for you that you can't really reach that. So make sure that it's a realistic goal, and make sure that it's timely. And so whenever you actually go back and you actually have those things down, make sure that you revisit it like every so months to see where you are as far as reaching your goal. And if there are some things that you actually need to tweak, make sure that you tweak that. Gotcha.
From the site.
So now I want to talk about your needs versus wants. Well, let me back up one more time. I want to ask you something. I want to mention to you about your goals too, about your goals. One thing about whenever you're planning your goal, what is your number one financial need? What is your number one financial need as it relates to your financial goal? So you may want to come out of debt. You may want to purchase a home. You may want to send your kids to college. What is your number one financial goal? And what are your top 2 financial goals over the next several years that you want to achieve? So we want to make sure that we have a goal, because there are certain things, whenever we have a goal, there are certain things that a goal actually brings about. A goal, it actually brings about purpose. It brings about purpose, then you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. A goal, it gives you accountability. It's going to hold you into what it is that you're trying to achieve. And a goal, it gives you momentum. It's going to help you, okay, am I going too slow about maybe achieving a certain thing that I want to get, or do I need to speed that up? So those are some things that you can remember too about your goal. And now I want to talk about needs and wants. A need is what it is. A need basically is what you need. It's a necessity. We all need water, we need food, we need electricity, we need clothes, we need a place to live. A need is a necessity, it's what we want. And wants is basically something that you desire. You don't necessarily need it, but it's something that you want. For example, cable. We don't need cable. We may want it, but it's not necessarily a need, you know. Slow down more? Okay. So it's not necessarily a need. So think about that. Your clothes, sometimes, yeah, one person said having, you know, the certain type of clothes that you want, you know, a name brand clothes, name brand purses, or things like that. You know, those are actually wants. You don't have to necessarily have a name brand, but just, you know, so think about that. You may want to save and actually do that sometime in the future, okay? So think about that, needs versus wants. What is it that you need? Something that you need today. Okay, and then your wants, we can talk about that as something that you desire, but you don't necessarily need it, because it's not going to make you or break you in order to get to where it is that you're trying to get to. So now what I want to talk about is the process of opening a bank account. Okay, the process of opening a bank account. Whenever you want to open a bank account, make sure that you do your research. Do your research. What does that entail? And Lucinda, if you want to jump in anytime, feel free to do that. What does that entail? Making sure that you can go on the internet, or you can talk to your families about who it is that they actually bank with. What type of bank that you actually want to bank with. Is the bank within the vicinity as far as your closing, you're driving and things like that. So what is that you're looking for in a bank and a banker? What is it that you want them to be able to give? If they have online banking, if they have an ATM machine, is it easy access for you to actually, get to home, to get in and out? So those are do your research. Make a list before going into the bank about some of the things that you actually want.
Another thing that's very important to do your research on when it comes to opening a bank account are the fees associated with having that account. You want to make sure that you're not being charged for basic usage of that account. There are accounts for seniors, there are student accounts out here, checking, do I really need a savings? Do I really need a checking account? So part of that research is finding out the fees associated with a checking and a savings account. If you don't use your account that much, if you don't use a debit card, are there fees attached to that? So part of the research is most important to us as far as savings is the fees attached.
Okay, so again, going back to making sure that you make a list before going into the bank. And the reason why I want you to make a list before going into the bank is sometimes whenever we go into the banking center, we forget everything. It's like we just become blank. You know, we don't know what it is that you know what you're there for, but you don't know how to articulate what it is that you actually want. So the list is gonna help you to stay on point. It's gonna help you to stay on track. So one of the things I want you to think about, whenever we talked about needs and wants, one of the things that you actually need when you open up an account is you wanna make sure that you have a bill account. Make sure you have a bill account. That's where that's your needs account. That's where you're actually paying your bills. The savings account, you can actually have that as your want, something that you want. Maybe something that you're saving for a rainy day. So that can be your want account. And also make sure that you have an emergency fund. Okay, that's a fund that you're not gonna touch it in case a rainy day comes where maybe you get laid off or maybe your car breaks down or whatever the case may be, that's an emergency fund. Okay, so sometimes you may not be able to start out with all three of those accounts, but make sure you start out with a bill account and a savings account. Remember I talked about being able to measure your goal? So think about this. So whenever you open up an account, again, what is it that you want from your checking account? One of the things I want you to keep in mind is that whenever you go into a bank, make sure that you feel welcome. Make sure that whenever you're coming into the bank that you're being greeted in a very personable, friendly, open, welcoming way. Because your first experience, the first impression is a lasting impression. And more than likely, however they treat you initially whenever you're coming into the bank, that's gonna be the relationship that that's gonna go along with you throughout the process of you actually having a relationship there with the bank. So make sure that whenever you go there that you're actually watching that, okay? Because believe it or not, they want you. It's not that you're doing us it's not that we're doing you a favor, but actually you're doing us a favor because we want, when I say we, I'm talking about the banking industry, we want you. We want your business. We want to have a relationship with you. A good financial banker, they want to make sure that they're actually following you through the whole process and phases of your life. Whenever you're opening up an account, whatever life event you may be having, if you're actually getting a car, if you're buying a home, if you're graduating, if you're getting married, if you're having a baby, if you're going through any type of financial situation, maybe a bankruptcy or divorce, we want to make sure that we are with you through every phase and every stage of that process. So again, whenever you come into a banking center, make sure that those people, they're friendly to you, they're open and they're welcome. And you want to make sure that you build a trust with them. Do you trust them? What is the relationship whenever you sit down to talk to them? How do you feel? Are they communicating with you? Can you trust them? Because we want to make sure it's a trust, it's a two-way street, that you have to trust us, and we want to make sure that we're gaining your trust as well.
And if you don't feel that way, go to another institution. A lot of times whenever you see one bank, it's another right across the street.
Right.
So if you don't feel confident or feel like you can trust them or that you feel like you're a number already, go to a different institution. That's where you can shop around. It goes right back to where Stephanie was saying about doing your research. So once you sit in the seat, you're not obligated to that person. So if they don't make you feel these things, then it's okay to continue your research.
Because people don't bank with banks. People bank with people. Mm-hmm. And you want to develop that rapport with the personal banker, with the person that you're going to be doing and sharing all your interests, all your most important, secrets and things too. And whenever we actually sit down and speak with the person, it becomes it's a lot of information sharing. I mean, you become very personable and you become very vulnerable, I should say, because you're opening up about some of the things that you're going through. I mean, that person is actually looking into your life to actually say, okay, how is it that I can help you to get to where you are now to where it is that you want to be? And that's why I said you have to make a list. You have to have a goal. You want to know, you don't want someone driving the car for you. You want to make sure that you have control of your vehicle. So before you go, have a goal. Know what it is that you want. This is what I need. I need to have a checking account that's not going to have a monthly maintenance fee. I want to make sure that this checking account, if I have direct deposit, I want to make sure that this checking account is not gonna, if I have so many, how many transactions can I do online? Or if I go to an ATM machine, am I gonna get charged for this? So you wanna make sure that you're setting your goal and that you know what you want. That's why it's so important, again, to make your list. Because that list is gonna keep you on point. It's gonna keep you focused on the big picture as far as what it is that you wanna have. And so whenever you get there, then you may have a personal banker, because everyone is not honest. You know, everyone is not honest. Sometimes people are out for the numbers, you know, because there's so many things that they have to get, and you get so many incentives and points and things like that from opening up a checking account. That should not be, again, that should not be the goal of the personal banker, but sometimes it is. And we've seen that in industries where people are not being integral, where they're opening up accounts and doing things in a very unethical way. So that's why I said you want to make sure that you have a goal and that you know what it is that you want. So whenever you're listening to that personal representative, if they're saying something that you don't like, then you can quickly say, well, no, that's really not what I had in mind. You know, this is more to what I actually want. Okay, so it's important to have a goal and make sure that you stick to that goal. And building that trust with the personal banker is very important. And you want to find out, a couple of things you want to find out: how much does it cost to open an account? You know, what is it that I need to open an account? If you have, and it varies from institution to institution, so you just want to know that. Again, Lucinda was talking about fees. Are there any fees associated with the account? How can those fees actually be avoided? Balance requirements. Does this checking account require for me to have a balance? You know, so if it does, those are the things you actually want to find out. Also, too, you want to make sure that you keep your account in good standing. Okay, so whenever you have a checking account or a savings account, you're building a relationship with that institution. So a lot of times whenever you actually go to get a loan, they're looking at the relationship that you have. And sometimes if you have a relationship, whenever you get a loan, they actually give you a discount off your interest rate. So that's something to think about too. So you want to make sure that you keep your account in good standing, making sure that you know your balance, making sure that you're keeping records of your debits and credits, that you're avoiding overdraft fees. A lot of times whenever you have a checking account, you can actually do online banking, and online banking, you can tweak it the way that you actually want. Like if, for example, if your account falls below a certain amount, then you can have it to tweak you. Say if my account falls below $100 or $25, it can alert you to let you know, okay, your account is below this amount. You might want to, you know, so they give you a heads up that you probably want to make a deposit or something like that. So you can do it for the debits and you can also do it for the credits, but you want to make sure that you keep a track record of your account balance, whether that's with online banking, using your check register, or coming in the branch and getting a balance, or going to the ATM machine to get a balance. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. Do you want to add to that?
And I would just like to add, you know, most of us are tech savvy as far as an app, and most banks offer an app, and we're on our phones a lot during the day. Social media, whether it's texting your family or friends. So download that bank's app. And that is a sure way to get, you know, what your balances are if you have something coming through that you may have forgotten. Also transferring funds. So if you do have something coming through and you have the money in your savings, you can just move it from your savings to your checking and avoid a fee. Also on the apps, you can set up alerts. So if your balance drops below a certain point, then you know, oh, I need to make a deposit or I need to make a transfer. That'll also help you to keep your account in good standing.
Right. Want to go back to, as far as your goals, always with your goals, start small. So whenever you open up a savings account, and make sure you do that. You don't have to, you know, start big, and sometimes, but just start. You want to start. If it's $5, and normally what I try to recommend to customers to actually do is just have it come out of your paycheck, you know, or just make sure, and don't tie it to your ATM machine. I mean, don't tie it to your debit card, because there you're going to be it's going to be enticing for you where you can just go in and transfer money over. Don't tie it to anything. Just make sure it's hard for you to access. So make sure that you, maybe $5 that you have from your paycheck going over to your savings account. Just start small and stay consistent with your goal. so that whenever you actually, remember I talked about timely and measuring it, so you can begin to measure. You can actually see, okay, I see my account building up, and then once you start, then you can maybe start adding more. Well, I start out with 5, maybe I can add 10, or then maybe later on I can add 15, but make sure that you start, and that's how you start with your savings. So once, those are some basic things that you can definitely make sure that you have your checking account and your savings account, but then actually get that going. Again, make sure that you have an emergency fund. You want to, that's very important, because life happens to all of us. So there's things that we don't want to make sure that we tap into our savings or our checking account, but that we have that emergency fund that we can actually tap into that's not going to throw our life kind of out of sorts if we happen to dip into the savings or do something with our checking account. So kind of keep those things in mind as well. So I hope that helped in regards to having your needs versus your wants, having a goal and having a plan. What is your attitude towards your money? Why do you think the way you think about money? But remember, again, money is not to be worshiped, it's not to be loved, but it is to be respected. And once we value and respect the money, we can actually maximize that to make sure that we get the full value of what money is actually used for. And also too, I talked about the goals, being able to measure that. Remember the SMART that I actually talked to you about. You want to be specific in your goal setting. You want to make sure that it's measurable. You want to make sure that it's achievable, realistic, and timely. And so I think Lucinda now, she's going to actually talk about budgeting.
All right, so we're going to go right into, before we get into budgeting, we're going to go right into debt management. We've learned about how you view money, your relationship with money from Stephanie, and we've learned about how to open an account, how to open a savings account, and setting our personal goals for ourselves. So we want to talk about debt cancellation and debt management because most Americans, no matter your background, we're in some form of debt. So debt is money that you owe to a creditor or a lender or to the credit cards. Just break it down, it's that simple. You can have good debt and you can have bad debt. Typically, when I think of a good debt, I think of the long-term benefit of having a home. That to me is considered to be a good debt to have. Now, we don't want to carry that debt for 30 years like we set up at the bank, but that is considered a good debt because we all need somewhere to live. We want to have a stable foundation for our families, and a home is a good investment as well. So a good debt would be a home. The bad debt would be credit cards. If you use them irresponsibly, because everybody needs to establish that. We'll get into that in the future. But credit cards, furniture would be one, in my opinion, because those things decrease in value. Cars,
Buy here, pay here.
Buy here, pay here lot, you know, those are considered bad debt. So if you have a respect for your money and money management, like Stephanie was talking about in the beginning, some of these things that we can save up for with our savings account. You don't want to finance anything that's not going to bring us any value as far as our assets and liabilities. You first have to know what type of debt you're in, how much you are in. So the first thing, in order to be able to manage your debt and to come out of debt, is to know where you are. I always recommend making a list. So make a list of all of your credit cards. If you want to list your home, all of your car payments, your student loans, all of those type of things, list them down and total them up so you will know exactly where you are. You must know where you are to get to where you're going. And that ties right back into goals. So the ultimate thing is to live debt free, because there is a freedom in that, and we'll definitely will get to the benefits of being debt free. And don't get us wrong, and don't get me wrong for sure. You know, everybody is in debt in some form, or most people are in debt in some form, and we have normalized that. and you want to go back to how you view money, what Stephanie talked about from the very beginning, and to then realize, okay, look at all the money I'm spending out every month in debt. I could be living my dream. I could start a business. You know, we could go on more vacations and create more memories. We could have our house paid off in 15 years. So you want to live within your means. And if the only way to live within your means is to know where you are as far as your debt. And we're going to get into budgeting because that's one of the largest things of this piece of debt management and debt cancellation. You want to pay everything that you owe to your creditors on time every month. And the only thing that's required of you is to pay your minimum payment. So when you look at your contract or you go to the lender, all contracts, all credit cards, all of them state what your minimum payment is. And the date is due by. So you don't want to pay it on that date. You want to pay it ahead of time. You don't, especially if you're mailing payments in, or if you do online banking through your checking account, you want to make sure you get those checks out in time. Money orders, you want to make sure through snail mail, you've at least mailed it within a week's time before your actual due date on your statement. You want to get it on time so you can avoid fees, because you already owe the debt and now you're adding fees on if you don't pay it on time. In turn, also, depending on how late you pay it, you're harming your credit. And with all of that into play, you're really bringing stress upon yourself. And we don't want to be in a position where we're stressed out every single day or we're working to pay bills. So it's very important to, you know, pay everything on time and at least pay your minimum payment due. One strategy you could use is look at your statement and see the total interest that was billed to you. Take that and add your minimum payment to that. That not only just put more money towards the principal amount you owe, but you're going to pay that debt off faster. And that's the ultimate goal, is to get out of debt. So we also want to keep in mind, if you're in a lot of credit card debt, because most Americans are, you want to, if they're tempting to you, take them out of your purse, take the credit cards out of your wallet. The first step to getting out of debt is to stop using it. So you want to take those out of your wallet and put it in your cabinet at home, your safe at home, freeze them, cut them up, or give them to an accountability partner. So the first step of coming out of debt, the second step. The first step is to know where you are. The second step is to stop using debt. You cannot come out of debt, credit. If you cannot come out of debt if you don't stop using your credit. So that's your second step to that. What you want to do every month on a credit card, if you can, if you're just starting out with your credit cards, this will be for that person that's just starting out, pay your balance in full every month. Right. Part of your credit score, which we'll get into in the next session, is how much money you owe. So you want to keep those balances low. If you pay your balance on your credit card in full every month, it's no interest to it. So if your credit card has 24% interest on it and you pay it every month, you have no interest. The interest is based on the balance that you owe on your credit card from month to month. So the ultimate goal is, and that's using credit responsibly. If you charge something on there, next month when you get the bill in the mail, go ahead and pay it off in full. Let's see. So the next thing we want to do in order to get out of debt, especially if you're in a situation where things are kind of like you're just paying bills and they're coming in, you want to kind of get organized. Right. Get organized, not kind of, get organized. The simplest thing that we found, if you get a calendar, and every month when your bill comes in, write the due date on it and how much. That way you can, when you see things, if you're a visual person, you say, oh, next week I have to pay my Sears credit card bill. You know, so you will know where it is, when it's due, because if we're overwhelmed in debt, then you need to know, you know, now okay, I gotta get organized. I think it's due on the 21st and it's really due on the 19th. You know, so you can create issues that way. We're getting back to fees, paying things on time, and building trust with your lender. Because if you pay it on time, they're more apt to help you in the future if you have a situation. So you want to pay these things on time. So get you a calendar, put it in your phone. There's a calendar on your phone. Like I said earlier, we spend a lot of time on our phone. So put your bill in, program it in your phone. Oh, I have my Chase credit card bill on the 25th of the month, such and such dollars. Put it somewhere where you can physically see it, whether it's a desk calendar, a pocket calendar, or in your phone. So you want to do that.
Let me just interject. Absolutely what she's saying. So whenever you know what's due, then that way you know what's going to be in your account. You know, so make sure that, okay, well, I have this bill coming out on such and such a day, so you make sure that money is in your account. Okay, well, it came out early, and earlier than I thought it was going to come out. Well, you know the bill is due, so make sure the money is in your account. So that's just, you know, being financially responsible. You know that you got the bill coming up, make sure that you have money there to actually cover it, because if not, you have that come out to your account, you're going to receive a $37 overdraft fee or whatever that fee may be for that particular institution. And then if you happen to write a check, then you're going to actually get a fee on top of that. So, and that's just creating a worse situation. So you want to make sure that you're being responsible about putting everything on the calendar, putting it on your phone to alert you, and then making sure that you have that money in your account, so whenever it comes out that you're not going to be creating another bill or another fee.
So the next thing you want to do, I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with the snowball effect, and whenever you're trying to come out of debt, you want to feel motivated, and the snowball effect helps you feel motivated. So what you would do is you would take your smallest, since you've already written out your debts, take your smallest balance owed and go to the next smallest balance. Go put everything in order from your smallest to your greatest debt, regardless of the interest rate, regardless of the payment amount every month. So whenever you take and pay off the first smallest bill, say you owe $1,500, if you paid that off, then you'll actually see, oh wow, I accomplished one of my goals. So it'll motivate you to go to the next thing. So when you were paying $50 on that bill, you would take that $50 and apply it to your minimum payment for your next bill that you have in line. And you will keep doing that until you have paid off all of your debt. And if they call it the snowball effect, because it's just like a snowball. It might start off small and then roll into something larger. So if you can get a visual in your mind, you have your smallest debt all the way to the largest. It's just like a snowball. If it goes down a hill, it rolls and rolls and rolls and gets larger. And so that's why they call it that. So you want to put all of your bills in order according to your balance from the smallest to the largest. The next thing you want to do is when you pay off that first bill, no matter how small it is, take that money that you were paying, that monthly payment, and put it towards your next bill. And that, with your minimum payment for that bill, only get you paying that second thing off faster. And then you will continue to do that until you are completely out of debt. Debt elimination. And one thing I want to also bring up is when we get an income tax return, if you're getting back $6,000, $7,000, $4,000, $1,000, take that money that you have, especially if this is one of your goals to come out of debt, take that extra money that you get and put it towards these debts. You'll still do the same thing. Pay off your smallest ones first, because the ultimate goal is to get out of debt. So any extra monies that you get, whether it's a side job, or you bake on the side, you craft on the side, and you sell these things at the local farmers market, take some of that extra money and put towards your debt. Because whenever you are debt free, just listen to the last word, free. There's a freedom that comes with that. You can buy more things for your family. You can save for your retirement. You can save for an emergency, especially with a lot of sickness going on. You never know when you're going to be out of work. And if you have mountains of debt and you have no savings, then that just put even more stress on you in that situation. So ultimately, being out of debt, it comes with a peace of mind. It comes with freedom, and you can do more. You can travel more. If you want to help a elderly relative or something, you're free to do that. If you want to give more at your church, you're free to do that. You know, so it comes with a freedom and a peace when you don't have all that debt. And don't let society and social media, your family and friends, cause you to get in debt, cause you to stay in it, cause you to continue to use it. Because we tend to compare our lives with each other. Like I might see Stephanie with a brand new Michael Kors purse, but Stephanie's son might have bought her purse and I'm going to put mine on a credit card. So you don't allow what you see somebody else with, you know, to keep you in debt or to force you to get in debt, because you don't know that person's story. They could have won it from their job. That new car could have been a blessing from the neighbor down the street that you see. So you don't want to allow the spirit of comparison to keep you into debt and into bondage, so that you know you won't continue on to that, because we've been conditioned over time to that debt is good and it's easy to get, and we get addicted to the approvals and different things like that. And so you want to save that 15% at Old Navy, so you apply for that credit card, and so things like that get you in debt. So you want to stay away from that, because debt can be eliminated. So if you're over your head right now, just go back to what Stephanie said earlier. Set a goal. You can come out. You have to choose to come out today if you want to start it. You plan to be out in a year, depending on how much you have. So you want to be leery of high interest rates on credit cards. You need to look at your rates, negotiate rates. That'll help you come out of debt faster. So if you can call up to Capital One and you can get a 5% rate, you negotiate it, versus the 25% you're paying, more of your money is going towards that balance. So you want to call and negotiate high interest rates that you have on your cards, even with loans. Yeah, you can call. Don't be afraid to call, especially if you've been consistent. You're paying that minimum payment. You're paying more than what's due, so you can come out. You stop using it. Say, hey, don't be afraid to call your credit and say, hey, I've been a great customer for the last year, and I want to know if you can reduce my interest rate. The worst they can say is no. Exactly. And when they say yes, well, this is what we can do, that's a win for you. And that's just another thing that'll go back and help you achieve your goal, your financial goals. I had a list here about does everybody have the budget sheets?
They should have the budget sheet.
Okay, let me just show. While I'm talking about some ways to come up with extra money, if everybody will get out a budget sheet, and we'll go over creating the basic budget in just a minute. But I had taken the time to, you know, come up with a list of ways to find extra money to put towards these debts. Oh. So does everybody have your budget sheet?
There we go. That's what it looks like.
All right, it's the basic budget sheet. So everybody pull that out, and we'll get ready to go over that. Some ways to find extra money to pay off your debt. You can sell some of that stuff that got you in debt in the first place. You know, hold a garage sale. You know, put it on these Facebook pages where it's a like online garage. Put it on Craigslist, but be very careful about stuff like that. You know, keep your change, your loose change in your purse or in your pocket every day. Put your loose change away. Don't spend it. We're gonna save it all the way to the end of the month. You save all your change to the end of the month. You can either roll it, because some financial institutions that you have your checking or savings with, they want it rolled, or you can take it to, if you bank with a credit union, they have a free machine there, or you can take your loose change to like Food Lion or Lowe's Foods. They're going to charge you a fee, but you can take all of the extra money you saved your loose change and either put it in your savings account that Ms. Peterkin talked about earlier, or you can pay it towards these debts. And that comes along with knowing what your goal is. If savings is your goal, then you would want to put it in your savings account. Cook at home and take leftovers for lunch. Stephanie is very frugal. She doesn't eat out much, but you do not have any clue on how much money we spend consuming food from McDonald's, the fast food restaurants, Ruby Tuesdays, all these places. They're all good. But if you start taking your lunch, cooking at home, bringing something every day, you'll save lots of money during the week. So take that money and put towards your debt. Starbucks, yeah. So you can get your Keurig cups and bring your own coffee every day. If you have the traditional coffee thing, make your own coffee in the morning. Get you a nice cup and invest in your nice cup like Stephanie has to keep it warm during the day. Avoid Starbucks because they can be anywhere from $5 to $7 a day.
And just try that for 1 month, okay?
Yeah.
Normally it says it takes a month before something becomes a habit. Try that for 1 month as far as not eating out. Whenever you're at work, just bring your lunch. Don't eat out. And more than likely, I think you spend probably $5 a day if you actually go out and eat lunch. So just try that and see how much you will save just for a month not eating out for lunch. So just try that for a month, okay? That's a goal. So set that goal where you're not going to eat out for lunch. You're actually going to bring your lunch. So actually do that and see how much money you're actually going to save and make sure that you put that over into your savings account.
Okay. All right. And so also if you start bringing your lunch, you might lose a little weight during that time. So that might be another benefit of bringing your lunch, because I know that I packed on some pounds from eating out a lot. Make your home energy efficient as possible. Sell underperforming investments. Check your tax withholdings at your human resources and consult your tax professional about that. You actually can claim more dependents during years, so you can get back less at your taxes. So that will make more money in your budget that you could put towards coming out of debt or put towards your savings. And they'll know what I'm talking about if you go to a tax consultant and say, hey, I want to get more money in my check during the year and less refund. You don't want to have to pay back now, just less refund during the tax season. That way you'll have that money all year to work towards savings or to put towards your debt. Get a part-time job. It's only temporary. You have a goal in mind to come out of debt or to save. Get a part-time job. It's only temporary. Make sure you discuss it with your family. Make sure everybody's on board to help you, especially if you have little ones at home. Use coupons from the Sunday paper. And also another big thing that we spend money on is Christmas. So at the beginning of the year, going back to goal setting with your banker, and when you open your checking and savings, say, I spend a lot of money at Christmas time. Start your Christmas savings. That way, when Christmas comes, you won't find yourself going back into debt, getting the loans and putting it on your credit cards.
And a lot of times, whenever you have a personal banker, a good personal banker, they're going to ask you some hard questions and they're going to challenge you. Is this something you need versus something that you want? I mean, we have so many times where people are maybe house poor. They have a gorgeous home, but they can't do anything else. Or they have an expensive car that they're driving and can't do anything else. And they realize they made a mistake. So again, we're going to have a good banker. They're going to challenge you with these questions. Or is that something you want or something that you actually need? Do you need to get this loan to buy Christmas presents? What's the purpose? I mean, does that really make sense? Because afterwards, you're going to have to pay back this debt.
That's right.
So just be aware that whenever you actually go and you sit down with a personal banker, a good personal banker is there to help guide you and to give you information. Once we give you that information, it's up to you to do with it what you want to do, because we can't make you do anything, but we can just give you the information and then you can access it and decide if you actually want to use it or not. But we want to make sure that we're actually helping you to become financially sound and to make sure that you're reaching the goal that you're trying to accomplish and you're not actually backpedaling into something that's not good for you.
That's right. And we're going to go right into the monthly budget sheet. Now, a budget, don't be afraid of this word, budget. A budget is a really, really good thing. A lot of times, we spend our money before we even get it. So like you've already spent your money before you go to payday. A lot of us live that way. And with a budget, you're only telling your money where it's gonna go. But before you can do all that, you have to know where you stand with all of your bills. So the basic budget, it lists all of your income at the top, all of your expenses next, and then you'll minus all of your expenses from your income that you receive. So before you can even do this sheet, I want you guys to, make you some copies. Make you some copies, or if your instructor there has any extra copies, take them home with you, because you'll probably have to tweak this several times before it becomes into effect. So what you want to do is you need to know where you're spending your money at. So if you are a cash flow person, you have to save your receipts for at least 30 days. I'll say 60 days, but it's going to take you long to start your budget. But if you have 2 months, you can kind of see a better picture. But at least 30 days if you're a cash flow person. If you are that person that when your check goes into the bank, you go take all your funds out and then you go around and pay your bills, you need to save all of your receipts from where you ate out, where you purchased gas, clothing, food, anything. So that, for the cash flow person, you need to save your receipts for 30 to 60 days. If you are a debit card user, I swipe my debit card for everything. I don't care if it's $1 soda at the pantry. So if you are a debit card user, you are actually the better person for this budget sheet, because the only thing you have to do is go pull your bank statement. So whether you get them electronically, whether you set it up with your banker to get it electronically or paper, go on your internet, onto your online banking, or go into your app, scroll through your spending, and if you get the statement in the mail, then you can make some notes on it. So what you want to do is put everything in the categories. And so we're going to skip the income part for right now, but put everything into categories. So you want to put it in food, you want to put it in entertainment, birthday presents, if you went and got your hair done, the kids, soccer games, like trips they have, cheerleading, your giving and donations. You want to see where your money is going. So you're going to go through your bank statements for the last 30 to 60 days with a fine-tooth comb. And you're going to say, whew, I spent $317 eating out this month. Okay? Just keep that in mind. I'm going to write $317 on my sheet so I don't forget my little made-up number. $317. And so once you get everything in the categories, then you know where your money is going at that point. You have a picture where your money is going. So you will pick up your sheet and you want to list your net income. On this first section, if you notice, I put your net salary on there. That's after all your deductions. That's all that means. I don't want to be condescending, that's for sure, but we hear gross and net a lot. So the net income, that's after all of your deductions, your taxes, everything, what you actually brought home in your paycheck or what was deposited into your checking account. You also want to list any income from a part-time job, and that could fluctuate, so you want to do an average of that. So if you get paid every 2 weeks, then you'll average the two, which you'll add them up, add those 2 checks up, divide it by 2, so that's the average that you make from your part-time job for that month. And then if you have a side business, which some people do, some people bake really good, they sell cakes, or you might sell the TLC products or Mary Kay or Avon or something like that. You want to put that money in there as well, because that is income. And yeah, you might spend that for your vacation fund, but we still need to put it on the sheet, because that way you'll see, because we might have to move that money around and spend less on the vacation fund and put it somewhere else. So you will total that up. That's what the block is for. If everybody can see that block, you'll put your total net income for the month in there. And now I'm saying for the month, but once you get really good, if you get paid every 2 weeks, you can do this for 2 weeks. But for right now, since we're just starting out, we're going to do it for the whole entire month. It's just going to make it simpler for now. And so that your total income goes in that block. And then The dreaded conversation is the expenses. This is how you're gonna know what you are spending your money on every month. That's why people don't like budgets because it's a harsh reality check for some people. Wow, I did not know I was spending $317 a month eating out, okay? And so when we're talking about coming out of debt, we can significantly change that number by bringing our lunch every day or packing a sandwich. You know, we have to eat to live, not live to eat. So that's how we can view that, you know. And then your car payments, the first thing you want to put is your rent or mortgage, and your car payments. It's not in any particular order, but I guess in my mind I did kind of put it in order of importance. So your rent or mortgage, your car payment, your total utilities, and if you want to, you can totally break this utilities out. So you can say the water bill, the electric bill, the gas bill. So you can break that out if you want. Cell phone expenses, internet and cable, and you also can divide those two up. I just put them together because I was running out of space. Internet and cable, medicine, you need to put that on there because that's something you use every month. That's one of those necessities that Stephanie was talking about earlier. Medicine, car insurance, health care. And when I say health care, everybody doesn't, sometimes you might have to pay those deductibles and different things like that. So you want to factor that in. Daycare expenses, groceries, savings, retirement, and you can add whatever you want to the list. So it's going to be personalized for everybody. You might not have 4 credit cards, but I just put that down because most people have multiple. So list your credit card payments every month on there. Personal loans, student loans, what else could they have? Anywhere. So any category you saw whenever you did your bank statement for the last 2 months, add any category here that you want, because the more clear you are about your picture, the better you are at this budget. And down here I added charity and donations, dining out, entertainment, clothing, Christmas and birthday. And you want to be realistic. Some people make budgets seem so bad, but also it's because they haven't factored in their actual life. You cannot do this budget and stick to it if you do not put your actual lifestyle in here. You still want to be able to go to the movies with your family. You still want to go on vacation. You still want to have a nice Christmas and a birthday party. So you want to add those things together. So the total number at the bottom, that's what goes in this next block. So the total income in the first block, the second block is the total expenses. Now, you might need to bring out your calculator on this one, or you can shorthand. I use my calculator in my phone. So you want to deduct your total expenses from your total income. If you're in the negative with that number, you have to make adjustments somewhere in your budget. So I would always start with dining out in entertainment. Where you were spending $317, cut it back to $100. That just freed up $217 out of that negative amount to go back into the budget to help you come out of debt first. Then you can look at revisiting internet and cable. Shop around for these services. There's too many people competing for your business. Shop around for cell phone usage. Cut back in these areas like cable and things like that. And if you're a family person, it's going to take for you to have a communication with your whole family. Say, listen, we're trying to do this. We want to go to Disney World next year. We're going to cut back in some areas. The wives talk to the husbands and vice versa. And because it's going to take everybody working together. You don't really want to traumatize everybody and put yourself in a situation you know you're not going to stick to it. You're not going to stick to it if this is not realistic. So what you want to do is bring that negative into a positive. At this very bottom number, the total income minus total expenses, you want to get that down to $0. Even base, zero base. You want to tell every single dollar that you make where it's going. You want to see where it's going. And then you can adjust accordingly. And getting back to paying off the debts, when you start paying off the debts, then that's something you can mark out. More money can go into entertainment. More money can go in your Christmas fund. More money can go into that dream vacation at Disney World next year. So a budget is telling your money where seeing where it's going, and then on your next blank sheet, you want to tweak it and say, oh, I can call Charter Communications and see if they have a special going on for the year. And then that's going to reduce your monthly output. So the ultimate goal is to get to zero-based budgeting. Your income and your expenses zero. So if you don't have all of these expenses going out, you might want to put more money into your retirement. You might want to put more money into your savings. Even with that, you can increase your retirement at work. So that means this will come down a little bit, but you can afford for that to come down in the income section because you don't have all of these bills, you don't have all these expenses going out. So this is zero-based budget. You want to get, the ultimate goal is to get to zero. And some people might have to get a part-time job. It's only temporary. So I recommend going and try to tweak things first, negotiating interest rates on credit cards, negotiating your cable, your car insurance. Some of us pay way too much in car insurance and don't even realize it. You can call and have them to adjust your deductible, maybe make it a little higher or something like that. You can go in there and negotiate these things, even with your mortgage. If you have an escrow, contact your insurance company because that is affected by your escrow, and that in turn lowers your mortgage payment down because the lower your escrow in there, then your payment goes down. So that's going to free up more money within your budget. You don't need to be overpaying for insurance and things like that. All right.
Yeah, and then going back to if you had your mortgage, I'll just piggyback off what you said. If you've had your mortgage for a while and you have a high interest rate and you know that you've been making your payments and everything on time and you've been doing good with that, look at the refinancing. You know, and it's possible that you can refinance. The rates are still low, you know, so you can look at doing that. You can also roll all your closing costs into your loan, and that will actually lower your payments. You can cut down on the term from a 30-year probably down to a 15-year or to a 20-year, something like that. So look at that too. Those are options that you can actually call a financial, advisor, a financial banker and say, look, I want to actually look at refinancing, possibly refinancing my home. And so we'll start asking you those questions. What is your balance? What is your interest rate? How long have you been in your home? And so that will help to actually lower your payment once you actually see the numbers. And a lot of times when people, and just have the conversation, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to actually call, okay? Don't be afraid to talk to someone. So to actually, because, I mean, that's what we're there for. A lot of times people just kind of stand back because they don't know what to say. So just actually call and just say, hey, I'm thinking about refinancing my home. What is the process of that? And so they can let you know about that. And once they actually pull your credit, you're not obligated to do it. You're just getting information. You're just finding information. And if that, you look at that and you go back and say, okay, that does work for me. So I want to look at doing that. And that could lower your payment where that can free you up to have more money as well.
Same thing with student loans. Try to consolidate all of them into one. What you don't want to do is you don't want to mix private sector student loans with government funded student loans. Keep those two separate, but all in one. But a private sector is like going to a banking institution and you've gotten a student loan. If it's financial, federally backed, that means you went to like U.S., what is some of the student loans, like Sallie Mae and different places like that. Those are federally funded, so you don't want to mix the two whenever you're consolidating them, but you can definitely negotiate those rates. It's the time to do that now too. And I did want to point out one thing on the budget as well. If you allot $100 a month on clothing, you can't go over $100 on clothing. In order for this budget to work, you have to stay within your means. So say if you only spent $20 that month in clothing, then that's extra money you can put into your savings or put back into the debt payoff, the debt elimination goal. That goes back to setting goals. You can't do this budget effectively without having a goal. So you just have to remember you can't go over the allotted amount. Now utilities and things like that, they fluctuate. So that's why you want to kind of put an average there or put a little bit more in your budget. So if your water bill is $30 a month, maybe put 40 in there just so you'll know, okay, well, I have the extra $10 in there, flexibility with that. So it's time for questions now, and I wanted to address one of, I think this is two separate questions. The snowball method versus the avalanche method. Okay, so you're talking about doing the exact opposite of the snowball method. So you're taking the largest debt and paying it off first. In my opinion, you have to do what works for you.
Exactly.
Okay, but in
I
my
did that
opinion, yeah, whenever if and you know those payments are larger. So if you pay off your car payment first, that's going to free up $400 versus $25. So it depends on where you're at within the loans, your term. Like how many more months do you have to do that? Because if you're getting towards the middle part or towards the end of that loan, if you know you'll have it paid off by February, March, go ahead and pay off the larger debt because you're gonna free up that larger amount of money first. So it's nothing wrong at all with the avalanche method of things. This kind of depends on where you are financially as well, because some people might not be able to start with the avalanche, and you might get discouraged along the way. I'm trying to pay off this car. I'm really trying to pay it off because the girl at Chatham Literacy Program told me I would free up $400. That might not be your story. And then you're going to get discouraged, and then you're back to your old ways. And see, all of this is going to take a mind renewal. So this is something new. You're going to kick and scream and buck against it. Your family's like, wait a minute, we used to go out all the time to eat. What's going on? We used to have pizza every Friday. Well, you know, you're going to have to do a mind renewal, more new conversations. So the snowball method for some might be way more realistic because now you're building your confidence. I can stick to that budget the lady told me about at Chatham Literacy. I can do a budget. Wow, I can come out of debt. I stopped using my credit cards and I've got 2 credit cards paid off already this February. I didn't think I could do it. For some, the snowball method would be a confidence builder, you know, to show you can do it, and encouragement. Because now, where you used to feel like I would never come out, with the snowball method, I have tended to find that people say, I know that I can come out now. But if you are in a financial position where you can do the avalanche method, I'm all for it because those payments are a lot larger. And that means you can save faster, you can buy you that new car if you know your car is in dire straits. You can do a lot more things. You can build onto your house and different stuff like that. So it's no right or wrong way. I was just giving you the snowball method, you know, to give you an option as far as the build momentum, And then, and this is another thing, paying the high interest rate debt first instead of the lowest balance. I definitely don't see anything wrong with that at all. Those cards and different things with the higher interest rate, you have more money going to the interest instead of the principal. And that's, again, another one of those things. It's nothing wrong with it. We're just giving suggestions. So if that is more important to you, getting that one paid off first, by all means, write down each card. You're still going to list all of your bills. And then you're going to list the payment amount a month, and you're going to list what the interest rate is. I firmly believe that you need to know what your interest rates are on these things so you can go and refinance your mortgage, or if you can go to the credit union and refinance your 30% loan versus their 10% loan. You definitely should know, you know, where you stand as far as the interest rate. Again, I feel like the snowball method is just giving you a confidence builder. But it is good to pay off those higher interest rate debts. And again, I suggested earlier, pay off add the interest that you were billed for that month with your monthly payment, and you can knock that out just like that. And the thing is to get out of those high interest rate loans and credit cards and stay out of it if you can. You know, that would be an emergency situation, but it goes back to what Stephanie was talking about earlier on your goals and in saving. You want to build up your emergency fund and your savings so you won't have to go back to the high interest loans, because they are very easy to get. A higher interest rate, they're very easy to get because some of those places, and I don't want to put the places out there, but they target people with the lower credit scores and make it very easy for you to walk in there with a check and come out. But you want to, if you want to, yes, you can definitely start there. So snowball method, you can try what works best for you. You can try all 3 of these first and then see, okay, well, Let me go back because I don't feel like I'm building, getting any of this stuff paid off. Let me go back and revisit the different methods. So there is the snowball method, the avalanche method, and the high interest rate method. So you could look and see what is best for you at the time.
Right. And just like what Lucinda said, you have to know what works for you. I actually did the avalanche because my interest rate was, I wasn't seeing my bills go down. I'm like, this is crazy. So I actually did that. I actually paid off my large one first, and then I started with the small because I was like, no, I'm just knocking you out because it was frustrating. But you have to be realistic and make sure that if what caters, what actually works for you. So either one of those, you have to see what works for you. One of the things that I got here, when starting an account, can you ask to talk to a financial advisor at the bank? Absolutely. And all banks have financial advisors. I'm actually in the process of going through being a licensed banker. The second time, I let my license expire. But the second time, and a financial advisor is basically there to actually find out where it is that you're trying to get to. Actionable items, where you are, and the things, again, like I said, all the steps through your life, making sure that we're actually walking you through those steps, and also that they're giving you, if you have life-changing events, making sure they're going back and tweaking those things, as far as it relates to your investments and finances and things like that, so that you can actually, by the time you reach retirement, that you're financially sound to actually enjoy that. But absolutely, all institutions should have financial advisors. So yes, you can definitely ask for that.
And that would be great. I just want to interject, especially if we have somebody that's in the class that's self-employed. You would be a great candidate also to go to a financial advisor because you need to prepare for retirement just like us regular folk. You don't want to retire, you have nothing put away. And investing is some of the best ways to grow your money kind of fast.
And when you say investing, you're not talking about where you're, there's different type of investing. You have your fixed, you have your, there's variable, there's secure, and then not secure, things like that. So there's a lot of different plethoras of products that you actually don't have to risk and non-risk. That's actually what I was trying to think about. So you have some that's not, some that's not risk, that's actually fixed where you don't have to lose anything. So you want to make sure when you think of investment, just don't think about of risk. Because you are insured and you are covered, and they have products that are fixed that you're not going to lose. Now, whenever you start out young, then you may be willing to actually risk a little more, but once you become older, we're looking at your financials and everything like that. You probably want to do less risk and more fixed, things like that. So absolutely. So yes, definitely.
In some places you can start out as little as $500 to $1,000. You don't have to go in with $10,000 to invest and talk to that financial advisor. That's where doing your research comes into play. It asks a lot of questions because you're not bound to anything just because you sit in a chair somewhere.
Right, you get information.
Unless you sign a contract. You're only getting information and fact finding. Take the information home that you get and think about it. If you're married, discuss it with your spouse or what have you. Because you need to, that's something to think about. There's a lot of options when it comes to investing. And you need to think about these things before you just dive in. Because some people are out to make a profit. And unfortunately. And you have to do enough research yourself before you get involved so you won't become victim to, oh, they just told me to invest it here because they're going to make a lot of money off of you.
That's what that's what I said earlier. Some people, their motives are not right, so you want to make sure that you have that relationship. And ask questions, ask your family members, do you know this person here that, that actually works at this bank, or, who do you actually do your financing with, and what is your relationship with them? Are you happy with them? Things like that. So just kind of ask family, ask friends, things like that. But and then see how whenever you're talking to the person, you should be able to get a feel of what they are about, if they're sincere and really wanting to help you to get to that next level. Another question, discuss statement made regarding discounts on interest rates based on personal relationship banking. I don't quite understand that question.
I think they were going back to where, you were talking about, I put that down right now. Looking at relationships,
based on personal relationship.
So looking at the total relationship for lending. I wonder if whoever asked the question maybe can clarify, were you all talking about when she was saying you might can get a loan based off of your relationship with your banker? Because I know I touched on discounts as far as calling in and negotiating your rates with your credit cards and things like that too. So if that's what I remember that part.
They're not responding. Could you talk about both of those different scenarios and then maybe?
Yeah, I think they misunderstood because this is where you were talking about looking at the total
I think
relationship.
I wanted you to talk a little bit more about when you were discussing. Okay, here it is.
Okay.
Yes.
About the
Whatever you
discount on the
said.
rate? Okay, so it was me, Lucinda? Okay, so you can call, now, hear my heart, if you're past due, you cannot negotiate. You can't negotiate without, them closing your account and different things like that. But if you have been, if you've had a Chase credit card for 2 or 3 years, you've never been late, your rate is at 25% on that. You can pick up the phone and call these people and say, I've been a good customer with you all for 3 years. I've never been late. I keep my balance pretty low, and I want to see if I qualify for a cheaper rate now. And that might require them to re-pull your credit. I want to say that. Because sometimes they might want to say, oh, she has her credit score came up from when we gave her this credit card. Because sometimes your interest rates are based on where you stand credit, and some of them are just standard, standard across the board. So you can call any of your lenders and negotiate. There are some risks to that. If you're in dire straits, they might say, okay, we'll lower your rate, but you can't use your card anymore. We're going to close it out. Now that's going to cause a whole nother issue. Say, no, I might not want to do that part because now you're closing a trade line on your credit, which we'll get into next week. But it could be a risk that's like, okay, if you're having problems, then, we can do the interest rate reduction, but you can't use your card. So you don't want to go into it and say, I'm having a problem. You're going in an aspect is I'm a good paying customer. I pay you on time. Every month I pay extra towards my payment. I haven't used my credit in a while. Is there any rewards to that? Can you reduce my interest rate? The only thing they can say is no.
And I actually did that. I did
you
that with
can
one of my
negotiate.
creditors, and they said no. So you know what I did? I paid them all.
And you
don't want my business.
You can do that.
So that's.
But you might that might be Chase, but you might go over here and get a city card, and then they're willing to give you 15% versus 27%. You can do a whole balance transfer, move that whole balance on that new city card. So it just depends on where you are with the company. And even if you are in dire straits, you can still negotiate. And that might be a good time to negotiate, honestly, because now you're paying all this money every month and it's all going towards interest. Your balance is never coming down like what Stephanie was talking about with her when she did the avalanche method. You might not ever see your balance going down, and that's one angle you can come from. I've been paying this Chase credit card for 3 years, paying on time and paying extra. My balance is not moving at all, and I stopped using the card. So you might get a yes, you might get a no, but the option is there. That's one thing that we're going to cover too about communication. Do not be afraid to pick up the phone. I can actually talk to somebody better when I'm not looking at them face to face sometimes. You're calling on the phone, you don't see that person. They can't prejudge you, really, based off of what they see. So call these people up and talk to them and ask. The worst thing they can say is no.
And remember, you're putting your card at a zero balance. You are not closing it out. Do not close your card because it's going to lower your score. You're going to lose history. You don't want to do that. Put it at a zero balance. Don't close it. Just don't use it anymore.
Yep. Especially when that debt freedom piece we talked about earlier. Pay it off, put that card. First of all, you shouldn't have them in your wallet anymore anyway because we already talked about stop using them. Put it in the closet. Put it in the shoebox somewhere. Get it out of the side of my, cut it up, but don't close it.
That's a good point.
And what the other- that was only-
More
what- that was
questions,
it?
but I do want you guys to talk about coming back next Tuesday and what they can look forward to. Unless
Okay.
you have things you just want to add, but I have no more questions.
So next Tuesday, come with your notebooks and pens. Bring your credit questions. We are going to cover the basics of credit. What is credit? What your credit score consists of, how to rebuild your credit, and how having good credit as an asset can affect your life. And then we're going to roll right into talking about home ownership.
Yeah, then I'll be talking about home ownership. America's dream is to be a homeowner. So I want you to dream big, and then we're going to come with realistic goals.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead and try to work on your budget sheet this week, between now and next Tuesday. And then if you have any questions, bring them back to class with you.
Oh, that's good.
On the budget. Yeah.
great.
And then maybe we can start the class out answering your questions about the budget or anything that we covered today. If you go home and think of something, do they have a contact? Write it down, bring it to class, okay? So next Tuesday. But credit is, you have to have it unless you just have a surplus of cash. But everything you do is related to credit. Some things you don't even know, as far as like insurance. When it's time for your insurance renewal on your car, they pull a soft inquiry now to see where you stand with your credit. If you've ever noticed your rate go up on your car insurance, it's because of credit. So like things like that we want to touch on and educate you on next week. There's a lot of education and telling you how to improve your credit next week. And I mean, I could talk about it for a long time, but we're going to go over the basics and give you some education. It's a lot of myths out there. You know, we want to go over, you know, definitely bring your questions. We can't get to all of them in 30 minutes, but bring them so we can try to address as many questions you have. The credit should be an asset, not a liability.
yeah, and like she said, you have to have it. You know, everybody, whenever you want to do something, do you have a score? You know, you want to make sure that you have a good score, so you have to have it. And
I'm going to touch on Credit Karma and Credit Sesame versus FICO score. Educate you on that.
yeah. And so and then understanding home ownership, the process with that, how that actually works, becoming pre-qualified, pre-approved, knowing your realtor, you know, having a relationship with that, being able to know what type of loans is out there, USDA, all those different things. So, yeah.
We appreciate your questions
Thank
tonight
you all
and for
allowing
listening to
Yeah.
us, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you all so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. We want to thank Stephanie and Lucinda. Make sure you do your homework. All right? Have everything in. Thank you so much, Lucinda. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, and we want to thank everyone in the Silas City and Moncure for tuning in. And have a great week.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay. Please complete the financial literacy training class number 1. If you could just take 2 minutes and fill it out. And we'd like to, it's just a brief evaluation because we want to have this program, of course, again. So we want to improve each and every time. So please just take a couple of minutes in completing the evaluation. Okay, any questions about the evaluation? Please type them. Vicky's on standby there waiting for any questions that you might have.
And the application.
Okay, and also, listen to this and, okay. And there's also the financial literacy student registration. This is very important that you complete this so that you can receive credit for attending all 3 sessions.
That's right, certificate.
You receive a certificate. Do they get classroom hours or
No.
any time
They'll
or?
be able to say, say that they received a certificate.
They get a certificate. Okay, you get a certificate. So please complete this. Anything else, Vicki?
If they did participate from CCCC in the high school diploma class or the GED class, they can get credit. But they need their certificate in order to show that they participated.
Okay, so you will need your certificate to show
participation in financial.
Okay, participation in this financial literacy program. So please complete this. So going to complete this as well as the financial literacy evaluation. Thank you so very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
They
They were great. It was great.
Thank you very much.
I gotta slow down. I always talk too fast.
I was thinking that, I was like, oh Lord.
Where are you from originally?
She's a preacher.
Huh? Where are you from originally,
I
Stephanie?
think I'm up north.
Yeah, because I'm from New York.
I'm
And
not.
see that?
I'm a southerner.
See
But
that?
I talk.
I think it's your excitement to get the
You're
information.
enthusiastic,
I
and
need
it's
to
your
slow down. I
and you
was
have a
like-
passion for
I
what you
do.
do. You see, so that's what it is.
Yep,
So
I
you have
was
to
thinking
excuse
of
my
that.
passion,
Okay.
but I'm going to talk fast now.